hey, if you want to make the big bucks, if you want to make that big boy money, you are going to have to sit down and hear a bunch of things that you don't like about yourself because you are 2025 offseason. We kind of already started to get into it a little bit. I want to start out with this Micah Parsons situation personally because there's multiple sides of the fence here. There is the Jerry Jones is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Blah blah blah. This that and the third, and then it's the other argument. It feels like is very pro player. I first want to start out by saying Micah Parsons the other night for the preseason game, going to Atlanta, looking at the Atlanta Falcons logo and throwing up the call me sign, and then him sleeping on the sideline on a table, and then going on Twitter afterwards and being like, "Oh, thank God somebody finally said something, like I wasn't sleeping the entire time on the sideline." Micah Parsons, you are a professional athlete. You are about to get paid 200 plus $1 million over a 5-year period. Act like an adult. If anything, everybody having all this stuff to say about Jerry Jones, there's a reason why Micah Parsons fell to 12th in the draft when he did, and that was because of off the field concerns. And now going into a contract negotiation, hey, if you want to make the big bucks, if you want to make that big boy money, you are going to have to sit down and hear a bunch of things that you don't like about yourself because you are going to be in a position now where an organization that is the most valuable organization across all sports, and you are going to get paid a $500 million probably over the course of your career to sit there and be the face of the franchise and play at a high level. So yes, you're not going to like every single thing that the organization is going to have to say about you, but if they're going to make that large of a commitment to you, they're also going to sit there and try to protect themselves as well. It's just like any other job in the entire world. And I guarantee that if I went to work and laid on a desk and said, "Well, I didn't sleep the entire shift," I would get fucking fired. So I think at a point, Micah needs to actually start acting like an adult in these contract negotiations. And I think it's so easy to sit there and judge a Jerry Jones in this type of situation when you don't take a minute to look at the way that Micah has presented himself over the course of this contract negotiation and be like, could he have done better? And Jerry Jones came out and said it himself. We have Micah's rights for the next 3 seasons. They have him under contract this year. They can franchise tag him next year, and they can franchise tag him the year after. So they are clearly not going to move on from him. And I get it. He is going to sign a contract at some point and make himself a very rich man. But at the same time, everybody acting like this is something that is just like so easy to get done. If it was that easy to get done, it'd be done. Also, you look across the entire NFL, there are multiple guys who are holding in and holding out every single season up to this point. And Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys have done nothing but take care of their guys over the years. I think of somebody like a Dak Prescott who had similar contract negotiation problems with them, and he ended up not playing on a re-up deal. He snapped his ankle, and after he snapped his ankle, Jerry Jones still gave him 2 massive contracts. So there's no reason to sit here and think that he wouldn't get taken care of now up to this point. I know that I said a lot right there, so go and take it however you want.
No, I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I do think that Dallas and Micah will end up getting a contract worked out. It'll probably end up happening like Wednesday night, right before the Eagles game. But I'm pro player in this situation, but Micah Parsons is making it extremely hard for me to try and defend him in this contract dispute per se, because you're right. Doing all of that shit is the last thing that I would want to see. Doing all of that shit and then trying to ask for all of that money is almost impossible for me to say yes as Jerry Jones, because he's handling it like a middle schooler. Like, be a professional, show up when you need to show up. There's a way that you can do it respectfully that doesn't make you look like an asshole. And the way that he's been handling this has made him look like an asshole. And it
I'm
makes me
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's hard for me to defend that because do it going and falling asleep on the sidelines and then coming out and saying, like you said, I wasn't asleep the whole time. Like, dude, you want to get paid a shit ton of money, act like it, right? Like that's not a good look for other teams too, because yes, you're phenomenal when you go out there and play, but like if I'm somebody else that's seeing this around the league too, that doesn't have the loyalty like the Cowboys do to you, that drafted you, that want to see you succeed with the star on your helmet, like it makes it probably a little bit easier to not want to bring you into their team, even though you're one of the best one of the best edges in the NFL.
There's two things that I want to highlight here too. Everybody who like is like, oh my gosh, poor Micah, like it's like, okay, like he got offered a $275 million contract and 268 of it is fully guaranteed, and he wants 275 fully guaranteed. It's not poor Micah. Like just shut up. Like I hate when people like start acting like this is like the end of the world. It's like, no, everything is gonna work out. He's gonna be an extremely rich man. Another thing that I think isn't highlighted in this in any way, shape, or form is Micah is the most famous defensive player in the NFL. He is the most recognizable. He has the most brand deals. He has the biggest media deals. He's the most recognizable defensive player in the NFL without his helmet on. Why is that? He plays for the Dallas Cowboys. If
Yep.
you look at somebody like a Myles Garrett, for example, Myles Garrett has been, or TJ Watt, these guys have been staples of the NFL for almost a decade, have been some of the top players to ever play the defensive position. And I don't even think I've ever seen a clip of Myles Garrett talking, and I consume a ton of NFL content. So, hey, that's also a plus
Talking at
side.
non-media events, yeah.
That's also a plus side of doing business with the Dallas Cowboys. They put a battery in your back to also have some of the best off the field opportunities that you could ever imagine. So to not take all of that into account when you're sitting there doing a contract agreement with everything, I think that that's something that nobody has said, being like, well, you are in it. Micah clearly has off the field ambitions that the Cowboys have fully embraced. He does a a a podcast after
Podcast.
every single game, and they're fine with that. Not many players could get away with the stuff that he gets away with, and organizations would allow players to do this kind of stuff that he does.
Yeah.
So to sit here and to like turn your back on Jerry Jones, which like I listen honestly, I said this the other day to you. I kind of
Yeah.
like what Jerry Jones is doing. I hate the fact that every single player can just stomp their feet, pout, and lay on a table on the sideline and get what they want. Like Jerry Jones is like, dude, like ultimately at the end of the day, I'm your boss, and like you have to treat me with some respect as well. And I like that aspect of things. It's not like a Terry McLaurin, when he went and handled his contract situation this offseason, it seemed like it got nothing handled with nothing but class. He
Yeah.
understood that it was business. He was at practices. He was shaking the owner's hand even when contracts weren't finished. So I'm just kind of sick and tired of this narrative with with contracts in general, but this Micah Parsons contract kind of inflated it as a whole, and it kind of gave me the opportunity to put all of the thoughts that I've had across the league over the past few years and being able to kind of put it all into like one comprehensive piece is like, Micah, you are in one of the best situations for yourself that you could ever imagine. So also when you're going to go and get that contract, you have to keep that in mind as well.
If I'm Micah's agent, I would be fucking furious at the way that he has been handling it and tell him, hey, go look at how Terry McLaurin handled it. I think that's a perfect example because Terry just got paid this afternoon and there wasn't any tweets about it. There wasn't any videos of him being ridiculous on the sideline.
There wasn't
Like you
a
said,
4-page notes app of like of him like venting on Twitter either.
the notes apps are kind of funny, but probably not the way that you want to go about it. But I get you correct. But yeah, he just handled it in such a much better manner, and it paid off. They got the deal done. 3 years. What is he getting? Like 32 million a year?
No idea.
Good for him, right? That's great. Maybe if I'm Micah, I take a page out of that book, because you'll probably have another contract at some point down the road after this one. And
Definitely.
you'll probably look back on how you handled this and probably regret it.
Yeah. It sucks. I like you said, I like Micah. I think that he's going to be a really good player for a really long time. I just, this contract shit is so frustrating to hear everybody talk about, because it's just like everybody just acts like it's like, oh, just snap your fingers and just pay him $350 million. It's that easy.
No,
it's like,
it's not. Yeah.
If it was that easy, it would have been done already. It's just not. They're clearly at a standstill with how things are getting worked within that contract, whether that be fully guaranteed money, incentives, whatever that might be. They're just not there yet. They'll get it done. Like I said, Micah is not getting moved from the Cowboys, and you know that too. I felt like when this story first got kind of brought up by Micah to begin with, I was like, and people were talking about it, the first thing I said to you was like, this is a non-story. They're going to get a deal done. So like, let's just stop talking about it. And then obviously, like, now all of this is kind of spidered into other things. And at first it was like the Jerry Jones conversation. It was easy to kind of hate on him. And now, like, the more and more that things get revealed, it's like, okay, like, well, if Jerry Jones might not be handling it like an A+ way, but neither is Micah Parsons. So how about we give a little bit of blame on both sides of the pie there? So that's pretty much my piece on the Micah Parsons contract situation.
Yeah, I'll say at the very beginning of this, like, anytime a Dallas Cowboys player comes out and requests a trade, I think of it while they're trying to get a contract signed. I think of it as like 99% chance that they don't get traded, 1% chance they do. I think when the Micah situation came out, I think the Notes app is probably what skewed it for me a little bit. It was probably at like 95% chance they get the deal done, 5% chance they don't in my head. But as things have progressed, like, I'm back to 99.9% they get the deal done and 0.1% chance they don't, just because this is the way that Jerry and the Cowboys operates. They will get it done at some point, but it won't be the timeline that it'll be on their time. It'll be when they want to get it done. So
correct.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a pass.